Hey guys, Luke here, your digital concierge with Gramophone. Today I've got with me the rock star of Marantz's receiver lineup. This is the relatively new SR8015, and this is the big guy, the kinda sorta almost separates killer. For those of you who don't know, the 80 series by Marantz has always been their flagship, and it's been the product that can nearly compete with separates in some regards. The 8015 is here to give you an exquisite home theater experience with 11 channels of audio amplification, all out of this one unit. You can make an entire theater with just this unit and have a great experience because of the amount of power this can deliver and the clarity that it can deliver it with. On the inside, this is built almost like a hi-fi component, and we'll be talking more about the details of that later. So for now, let's get ready to dive into why the 8015 is the biggest, the beefiest, the reigning king of receivers. But before that, get subscribed to the Gramophone channel and click that bell notification icon because we've got a lot of great highlights on the way. Now then, the king and why it earned its crown. Alright guys, so let's talk about the features of the 8015 and why it is the respected monster in this industry that it is. First and foremost, as I mentioned before, this is an 11-channel receiver. 11 amps can be running in this receiver at one time, giving you a 7.2.4 listening experience. 7 bed channels, 2 subs, and 4 height channels. And really, that's going to cover most people for almost every movie mix that's out there right now. There are a little bit more, and you can go a little bit further, but that is kind of the gold standard of where we're at, even here in 2021. Inside this unit, you have separate amplifier stages for each of those lined up in a nice systematic order along the sides of the receiver's body. And on the inside, if you look down through the top binning, you'll see that massive, round, beautiful copper donut called a toroidal transformer. Toroidal transformers are generally considered to be among the better of power delivery types for audiophile grade components because of their incredibly low inherent noise and electromagnetic field rejection. Just by the way they physically work, they're the right tool for the job, and Marantz is known for using them in their higher scale products. If you look under the hood of any Marantz product and you see a toroid, you know you're dealing with something quality. What makes the 8015 what it is though, will be part of the 80 series, the 15 denotes the fact that this features an HDMI 2.1 board. Specifically, you have one HDMI 2.1 in, giving you 8K capability as well as 4K 120, and you have one HDMI 2.1 out, so you can then again output 8K 60 or 4K 120 to a compatible 8K or high refresh 4K TV. And with a separate add-on box provided by Marantz for free now, PS5 compatibility has been added into this unit. And when I say that, I mean for features such as VRR, auto low latency, and some of the other ones that we're still awaiting. This unit's capable of producing 140 watts per channel into 8 ohms. That's with a total harmonic distortion of 0.05, a very good figure for a multi-channel receiver, by the way. And actually a very good figure really for anything, but especially in a unit like this that has to handle so much. Now that is a measure with 2 channels driven. However, Marantz does guarantee you that 70% of that rating is available at all times at all channels running. So this is still going to have plenty of juice even for a heavy multi-channel work during an intense movie scene. This is equipped to handle all of the latest object-based audio formats such as Dolby Atmos upscaling, meaning that even if the track itself isn't originally mixed in Atmos, but you have height channels, the receiver will do some corrections to give you height in that movie. Upscaling actually works pretty well. You also have DTS and DTSX Neural X, again, their version of an upscaled height experience. And for those wondering, yes, this does do lossless movie audio, as in Dolby True HD Atmos and DTSX Pro. And finally, you have IMAX Enhanced as well as Auro 3D. Quick side note, if you guys haven't tried Auro 3D yet, try it. It's really cool. Now, one great trick up this unit's sleeve is that while it is an 11-channel receiver in terms of amplified channels, this does actually process 13. So you can always add an additional amplifier to squeeze out those extra 2 channels for those of you who maybe want to do a 7.2.6 or a 9.2.4 if you want to do wide front channels. Finally, to save you guys some power, this features a mode called Auto Eco, in which the unit constantly evaluates its power need and will make adjustments to vary how much power it's actually pulling out of your wall, so you're always running green. And this features AutoZ Multi-EQ XT32 room correction, and this version of AutoZ is really good. You go through it like any other version, but you can actually download the AutoZ app and make very fine-tuned adjustments to the EQ curve by using the touchscreen on your phone to get it dialed in exactly where you want. And I actually found that to be extremely useful and a big improvement to the whole AutoZ process all around. Finally, this features Denon and Marantz shared streaming platform called HEOS built right in, and that's going to give you access to things like Tidal, Amazon Music, Spotify Connect, and many, many more, all running natively on the receiver, which ensures you're pulling down the best quality. Alright guys, so let's talk about the compatibility of the SR8015, and if you've watched my previous Marantz and Denon videos, you know that these are compatibility monsters, but of course they are, because that's what a receiver needs to do. So let's start with the kind of inputs that you have here. You have 7 HDMI inputs in. One of those is HDMI 2.1. The rest are HDMI 2.0B, so they're still good for 4K at 60 content, which is 90% of things out there still, right? You have 3 HDMI outs. One of them is HDMI 2.1 for passing through that 4K 120 or 8K at 60. One of them is an HDMI 2.0B for just standard HDMI 2.0 playback. And another is a monitor port, which is pretty much the same, but also meant to function a little bit more accurately for things like monitors rather than TVs. You have a whole host of analog audio in stereo that can be assigned to almost any of the input selections on this device. So you can have all kinds of stereo input. You have a lot of digital input through the more traditional methods, such as having 2 optical in and 2 digital coaxial in. You've even got the good old guard video in. Both a little bit of composite and component is still here. You still have a built-in radio, you have a built-in phono, you have Wi-Fi connectivity, hardwired through Ethernet, because of course, what you should do if it's available to you, and Bluetooth antennas for connecting via Bluetooth. And lastly, you have great options for control, with a 3.5mm used to input IR flasher signals directly, as well as the Marantz remote control protocol that uses a RCA to power on separate Marantz amps and other hardware, which is kind of a proprietary thing, but it works pretty simply. And the option for RS-232 for control systems as well. Going back to the HDMI portion for just a moment, the primary HDMI out also features HDMI EARC, or Enhanced Audio Return Channel, so that you can plug a separate device into a compatible TV and have 8 channels of uncompressed audio come back down to your receiver, so you can have a surround sound experience while still using the connectivity of your TV and fully utilizing it. For those of you who have like a high-end gaming PC or a PS5 or Xbox Series X, that's another good way to connect, because if you can just go straight to the TV, that's going to be the fastest. But keep in mind, Marantz did release a separate box that you can acquire for free through them to make a PS5, for example, compatible with this. Now let's talk about HEOS. You guys will remember I mentioned it back in features, but what does it actually do? It's a streaming platform that you download an app on your phone or smart device to access. It allows you to get almost anything you want and play it back through the receiver itself, which is always going to guarantee the highest quality rather than trying to cast it from your phone. It's going to give you things like access to Amazon Music, Tidal, Spotify Connect, multiple internet radio stations, as well as some other quality of life features that Marantz has baked into HEOS. And it also works really well because if you have other Marantz, Denon, or HEOS products, they can all be controlled from that one app, grouped together, ungrouped. That way you can have audio all throughout your home, playing on different sources, either working in step and in unison, playing the same content for kind of like a whole house party, or completely separately for different people listening to different things. And lastly, this has complete voice assistant support for things like Amazon's Alexa, Google Voice Assistant, and Apple Siri. Bonus actually features Josh AI as well. Alright guys, so now let's talk about the design aspects of the SR8015, and of course we'll start with the basics and cover the dimensions. This is going to be 17.8 inches in width, 7.3 inches in height, and 18.1 inches in depth. Finally, this is 38.4 pounds, so This guy's got some heft to him, as he should. So taking a look at how it looks overall, guys, you know, it looks like a Marantz receiver, but you can see that this one is the flagship model because it's tall in stature and it has got the totally lit up Marantz porthole on the front, which has always been one of my favorite design elements. And then much of the front features actually cover up under that flap right there, keeping this looking really clean, but also giving you very convenient access right on the unit itself to most of the primary functions, as well as really useful information, especially when you're trying to set this up on the primary display on the bottom. And when you're done, just fold that up, boom, back to a very clean front fascia with that nice brushed look, that angular Marantz design. Not too overstated, it's relatively subtle, just being a dark color, kind of meant to blend in. But that light up porthole and some of these subtle cues still make for an attractive product if you do want to show it off. Coming in at a starting price of under $4,000, the Marantz SR8015 has been basically the benchmark in this industry for what it means to produce an extremely high quality receiver that gives you some of the best sound that you can imagine for surround sound playback, all when coming from a single unit where everything is housed in one chassis. If you're looking for the gold standard, look no further. This is it. The 8015 is where Marantz pulls out all of the stops. Copper chassis, toroidal power supply, totally separate amps, all staged and really good ordering within the unit. Man, the build quality on this thing. Built-in HEOS. All the connectivity in the world. There's just something about the 80s as opposed to all the others. They're all great units, but you see where Marantz goes far with this one. Both in listening and in third-party measurement, this just stands uniquely apart and above all the others. This is their baby, and it shows. And even at $3,300, with the performance, the processing, the amount of amps that you're getting here. So if you guys want to pick one up for yourself and experience pretty much the greatest that can be offered from an AV receiver, head on over to skybygramophone.com where you can check out securely and we will ship you one fast and free straight to your door. And be sure to call and stop by our showrooms. You'll find us in Timonium, Columbia, and Gaithersburg, Maryland. And while you're out, please visit our beautiful kitchen design center in Hunt Valley. You can find us on social media too. We're on Facebook, Instagram, HEOS, Twitter, and a few others. Links will be down below. If you guys need help coming up with project ideas, if you need to schedule a service request, or you want to speak to one of our hi-fi home theater and interior design experts, get inspired at gramophone.com and ask at gramophone.com if you have any questions for me regarding anything you've seen here on the channel. All right, guys, thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, drop a comment down below, tell me what you think, and subscribe to the Gramophone channel for all of your audio and home theater needs. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Enjoy having you here. Be seeing you.